Now on Wake Up, new details this morning on Watsonville, where that shooting happened and it left a neighborhood on edge. What we're learning from police. Plus, President Biden wrapping up his European trip, but before he left, he met with Nordic leaders, and we discuss what their talks were about. And the Salinas Rodeo Carnival kicking off today. Our Carl Cook is live in studio and gives you a preview of what you can expect, especially with those warmer temps heading into the weekend.
Heat, and more heat. That's all you should expect here on Wake Up.
Welcome to Wake Up on KION News Channel 46.
To me, it's a great honor for Jerry's memory.
A new mural is being worked on in Marina, which will display the Chinese-American journey, but it also honors a Central Coast activist. Good Friday morning to you, and thanks for waking up with us. I'm Anna Torrea. We'll get to that special report in just a bit. But first, two teens are expected to be okay after being shot in the Freedom area near Watsonville Wednesday night. The suspect still on the loose this morning. But here's what we know so far. The shooting happened on Holly Drive near the Freedom Elementary School. Watsonville police are calling it a gang-related shooting. Police say it's gang-related based on some of the evidence that was found at the scene. Now, they didn't specify if the victims were involved in gang activity or not. People who live near the school are on edge this morning. They say more needs to be done to prevent violence.
It worries me as a parent because I have little kids.
The victims are identified as a 14 and 18-year-old teenage boys. No suspects' information is available at this time. Let's take you out to the East Coast this morning, taking a live look now from Washington, D.C. President Biden back in the White House after a long trip rallying support for Ukraine. And on his last day in Europe, Biden met with Nordic allies, including Finland, NATO's newest member, and Sweden, the next country expected to join the alliance. The focus of the meeting remains on the war in Ukraine. Biden made it clear that Ukraine has a path to NATO membership, but only after the war is over. Finland's entry into NATO puts even more pressure on Russia, as it shares an 800-mile border with the country, bringing NATO forces closer to the war. But the U.S. promised a long-term security commitment to continue supporting the Ukrainian war effort.
No one can join NATO while a war is going on, where a NATO nation is being attacked, because that guarantees that we're in a war, and we're in a third world war. Will we stay committed to our course? This week, Finland, the United States, and our allies and partners said a resounding, loud yes.
NATO members are also boosting Ukraine's finances and firepower with a new substantial aid package, with controversial cluster munitions from the U.S. arriving in that country on Thursday. And as President Biden made his way back to the White House, the investigation into that mysterious bag of cocaine that was found there has wrapped up. Investigators weren't able to identify a suspect. The small bag contained roughly 0.2 grams of the drug, which was found on July 2nd inside the guest entryway to the West Wing. FBI analysts examining that bag looked for traces of DNA and fingerprints, but found no definitive results. The Secret Service cited the difficulty in singling out a person among the hundreds that pass through the area. Here at home, with the main event just a week away, the California Rodeo of Salinas is putting on the final touches for another event today. Our Carl Cook is live in studio now, where he talked to organizers about the Rodeo Carnival. Carl, how excited are they to get this going?
And it's safe to say the committee is excited to get the carnival running. And as you can see on the screen here behind me, those preparations are nearly done for what the committee calls a marquee part of an even bigger event. The carnival will be a 10-day event, and it starts at 3 today this afternoon. Organizers say there will be more rides and more food compared to last year's carnival. Now, although last year's was the biggest they had because of certain circumstances, they want to try and match that while also being something that everybody can enjoy.
I think that last year folks were really excited about getting out after the pandemic and having our first carnival we'd had in several years. And now, so this year we hope we do just as well as we did last year. But more than anything else, it's about getting the families out, getting the community to come to an event and have something to do.
Now, another thing they'll be sure to have at the carnival is increased security. They want to be sure people who come to the event feel safe while enjoying the rides and eating some food. Now, with things heating up this weekend, Little hopes people that live in the areas that'll be impacted the most will come to get away from the heat, while also hoping the heat doesn't impact the carnival either. Anna, back to you.
All right, thank you so much for that, Carl. Speaking of heat, let's take a live look now from Salinas. Doesn't look like, Lindsay, things are heating up just yet. The clouds still lingering over us, still making it hard to see the mountain ranges that we can normally see on a clear day there. Hopefully that clears up, by the time the Rodeo Carnival kicks off today.
Yes, I hope that those clouds clear up too, but it looks like when we look at our futurecast that they will clear up just a little bit so we can enjoy that carnival. But for now, let's take a look at our temperatures right now. Looking at our temperatures across the board, things are warming up just a little bit. Our temperature map for right now looks a little different than it's looked the past few days, with these temperatures being a little bit higher. We were seeing some 40s on the map and days before, and we're not really seeing those anymore. Our lowest temperature is going to be in Monterey, looking at 53 degrees in the Monterey and Big Sur area. So that's where it's coolest right now. It's going to be pretty cool out there with some of that fog hanging out. And as you go a little bit inland a little bit, things are going to start getting warmer in the Hernandez Valley, looking at a temperature of 65 degrees. And locally in Salinas, looking at a temperature of 56 degrees. So you'll need your jacket right now, but not for long. Now let's take a look at our visibility and clouds so we can get you out the door this morning. Looking at our clouds, you can see that we're having a little bit of a visibility issue in the Salinas area, not having visibility issues in the Hollister area or Morgan Hill, and those clouds are starting to come into the valley. But I'll let you know what's going on more with the weather during your full forecast. But first, let's go to traffic. Looking at our traffic camera right now, we're looking at Reservation Road on Highway 68, which is south of Salinas. Some cars are out there right now. Looks like people are on their way to start their day. Pretty smooth flow of traffic, but I'll have more with your full forecast next.
All right, thanks so much for that, Lindsay. We'll check back in with you later. Now, only on KION, a new mural is being worked on in Marina, and it honors both Chinese Americans and a Central Coast advocate. I spoke with the artist of the mural, and I show you what it looks like and what it means for the community. Jerry Lo Sabado was an activist who fought and pushed to shed light for Chinese Americans on the peninsula. Her husband, Randy, remembers her fight.
She worked tirelessly for over 10 years to try to bring to light the whole history of Chinese contributions to the Monterey area.
Jerry, a mother of two, passed away on September 7th, 2021 at the age of 71. Now her legacy is about to live on in a different way.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye. Aye.
All opposed, say no. With a heavy heart and following the science, no.
Marina City Council voting 4-1, approving a mural celebrating Asian American history. For Randy, it's an honor.
It remembers her contributions, not only hers, but also all the Chinese that came before her in terms of the folks that worked in the railroads and the Chinese that worked in the fishing industries.
U.S. Census data shows Marina is made up of 16% Asian Americans, about 2% Native Hawaiian or Pacific Islanders, and nearly 14% who identify as mixed race. It's something Marina Council member Kathy Biala is proud of.
We have an extraordinary percentage of Asians with the AAPI group and also mixed race. Marina's history comes from Fort Ord.
Last year, organizers for the Feast of Lanterns decided to cancel the event permanently after many people spoke out against it. Councilmember Biala was one of those who urged Pacific Grove city leaders to end the event.
This is the sting of cultural appropriation. Please end this Feast of Lanterns forever and its public funding. Start anew.
I will tell you that at the Pacific Grove City Council meeting, in which the final decision to not permit the Feast of Lanterns, half of the speakers were from Marina. Our Asian community, not just Chinese Americans, but all of the Asian community came out.
We can't change what happened in the past. The least we can do is keep that event in the past.
An event that made some feel uncomfortable came something positive. The idea of the mural was born. Hanif Pani is the artist.
I enjoy kind of taking the viewer through a story all in one image.
This is where that proposed mural will be painted. Right now, the canvas is blank, but the artist is going to paint the stories of Chinese Americans and also Jerry Lo Sabato.
The image starts on the left with the railroad tracks going up into kind of a weary railroad worker, kind of staring off into the past or the future, and looping over to a version of the Chinese fishing village in Pacific Grove that mysteriously burnt down in 1906, and kind of a scene of the bay down into Jerry on the bottom right. So it's meant to kind of loop around from past to present. Marginalized voices can be expressed through artwork. I enjoy representing stories and telling stories from perspectives where sometimes those stories don't get the loudest voice historically.
Just proves that if you're persistent, change will come. It just takes a while. I wish she would have been here to see it, but it's a legacy, I think, for the Asian community and future generations.
Randy hopes that when people look at the mural, they see the lasting legacy, a legacy that both Jerry and the Chinese American community left behind. Reporting in Marina, Anna Torrea, KION News Channel 46. Last year, the Pacific Grove City Council approved a resolution that apologized to the Chinese community for the treatment of Chinese settlers. The resolution was read at the 2022 Walk of Remembrance. Now, everyone has lost something before, but how difficult could it be to find it again in one of the biggest cities in the world? Straight ahead, we show you how London handles its lost and found in a city with a lot of lost baggage. Plus, a volcano in Iceland is still spewing lava days after its eruption. But first, let's see what's happening in weather with our Lindsay Selzer.
Speaking of hot, we'll be looking at our future temperatures for our coastal areas into the afternoon. We'll be peaking at 70 degrees this afternoon with temperatures right now in the low 50s. And now let's take a look at Mount Toro. That sun rose about an hour ago, and we're looking at that sun looking beautiful over that blanket of clouds. We'll be back after this.